Hello again, KCIW listeners, and welcome to Curry Café. I'm volunteer Rick McNamer. Every Sunday from 3 to 4, your host Ray Gary and I put together a panel of guests to discuss various topics of interest that impact our wonderful community. And we have a topic that is very impactful in this community today. Listeners can participate by texting questions or comments to 541-661-4098. Again, that number to text comments or questions is 541-661-4098. Now here's Ray to tell us about today's show.
Yeah, we have an interesting show today, an interesting guest, and a topic that's probably spoken about in this community an awful lot. Due to all the advances in modern science or whatever, people are living longer. I was diagnosed about 15 years ago with a heart problem that would have killed me within a year, except they had this new med, and here I am still, like it or not.
Oh, we like it, Ray.
Okay. So I'm going to introduce, I'm going to let our guest introduce herself and tell you exactly what it is did I say what we're going to talk about?
No.
Anyway, we're going to talk about assisted living.
I'm sure our guests both will.
For those of us who are having memory problems and can't keep a thought straight, this might be us. I don't know. So,
okay.
Here's our guest. She'll tell you who she is and introduce the person she brought along electronically.
Well, thank you so much for having me, you guys. I am Sarah Dodson. I am the Regional Community Relations Director for Azalea Gardens Senior Living, Monarch Gardens Memory Care, and Shore Pine Senior Living up in Gold Beach. And I also have Tony Whitcomb, the administrator from Monarch Gardens Memory Care, joining us today as well.
Hello, Tony.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon.
We're glad both of you all are here to tell us about that. Like I said, we've been talking a lot about it before the show.
Yes.
But it's very, very important to deal with we live in a senior community, and it's a lot of people need these services.
It's definitely a very important topic, especially like I was saying before the show, we are the second highest senior citizen populated county in Oregon. So senior living and senior services and everything that comes along with it is definitely a high priority in the area.
Yeah.
And we're happy to provide those services.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so every time the subject of assisted living comes up, I know a couple of people that could use that. They throw their hands up and say, "Oh, that's way too expensive. There's no way we can afford that." So, is there a way people? I'm sure most of us. I happen to have insurance for that, but I doubt very many people do. What do you do? I mean, even if you're alone or whatever, what is the cost? What can you get by with?
So there are a few different ways to pay for it. If you're a veteran, you can contact the VA, and they have benefits and stuff that they can assist in paying for it. There's also long-term care insurance, and we work closely with the Department of Human Services. So if there is any issues with financials, then those definitely would be 3 very good places to start.
Now, this long-term care insurance, this is something you have to have before you're in a long-term situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You kind of got to be a little more proactive.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit this, but I'll admit it. I had it at one time. My wife and I had that way back when, but whatever happened in our life, it became not quite unaffordable, but we ended up dropping.
That's
right.
Shining.
And I bet you that's a common problem.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And we are very fortunate in Oregon where we're able to have the state, we have Medicaid that we are able to accept within our communities if for some reason, if you qualify, of course, through the Department of Human Services to assist with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. We have a woman who's, it doesn't matter how old she is, but she obviously needs some help. Mm-hmm. She can't cook for herself and that type of thing. And she doesn't have any of those things. She doesn't have like a retirement or obviously she has Social Security, but none of those other things, that she doesn't have a lot of money on top of it. So what can happen to this woman?
So my suggestion, and I would encourage her to contact the Department of Human Services and see if there's anything that they can do on their end to help get her established and see what the eligibility requirements are for Medicaid. If for some reason there's any type of financial concern for assisted living, they are typically, if they're not a veteran, they're who I would encourage them to call, is our local DHS office.
I'm not familiar with Medicaid. What does that cover?
So Medicaid is a state insurance. It's not necessarily my forte, so I can't go into too much of it.
You know more than I do, though.
But
and probably fool most of the people listening. So just go ahead.
Tony, do you want to jump in and talk about Medicaid?
I know that what I can say about Medicaid is that it's a great benefit that we offer from our communities is that we take both private pay, long-term care, Medicaid, and veterans services benefits. A lot of communities just take private pay. We just want everyone in the Curry County area to know that, no matter what the individual's insurance type is, I know that we most likely will take, if it's long-term care or Medicaid or veteran services or private pay. There's a lot of different options to pay for it. And we also, some places only take private pay. So we just want everyone to know that we really do take multiple insurance types. And we want to be able to provide a home for everybody who needs the services in the area.
That's good, because I think the number one issue you hear when you mention need to go someplace or something like that is, but that costs a fortune.
Yeah, well, and also you have to think about moving into a senior living community, whether it be assisted living or memory care. Once you move in, everything is covered. The food is covered. We offer dining services, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything in between is all covered. So the food costs would not be there. Utilities would not be an issue because that would be covered by us. Wi-Fi, we love Beacon, of course. But
I wish we had it where I'm at. But yeah, go ahead.
But that's all covered within it, along with housekeeping services, laundry services. We'll go in and wash your linens, and then all of the cares that we accommodate. So anywhere up to just needing a little bit of assistance with the day-to-day activities of daily living, from cooking, cleaning, we can accommodate that all the way up to end of life or any cognitive issues that seem to be coming along with Alzheimer's or dementia. That's also something that we really take pride in enriching their quality of life because we're able to provide those services.
Everything you just mentioned is something I can use.
I got you, Ray. Come see me.
Yeah.
Ray's on the list. Tony, I want to jump back. You said something about some places being private pay only. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know a lot of different communities, they really differentiate between payer types. Some will only offer rooms to individuals who can pay privately or apartments. I know that's one of the great things about our communities is that whether someone, was a millionaire or they were on state Medicaid services, as long as we can meet their care needs in our community, then they're always welcome to have a home here.
Well, I tell you what, man, that's a powerful thing to offer people. And I had no idea. My dad passed away. Let's see, my dad lived up in the Dalles, Oregon, and I was trying to get him down here. And at the time, I do remember, and I'm sorry, I forgot if it was Monarch Gardens but I wanted him closer if I could. Mm-hmm. But I was talking to those people, and they were telling me, because I was worried about how to pay. And basically, once he got down here, they would just, I think, monitor his income, or if it was easier than I thought. Let me just say that without going and boring people with all the facts, if you will. But it was it never reached that point. But I was glad to have that option if it would have come up.
Yes, that is something that we definitely deal with quite regularly. Very often coming over, people don't realize that we accept Medicaid. And so whenever they come and they're worried about the pricing or moving their loved one closer, that is something that we're able to do, is move them in as a private pay, establish residency, and then our residents or the family members taking care of them can start the process with DHS to get them established with Medicaid.
Wow.
So people shouldn't be afraid of this big, oh, my cousin was in one of those and it cost $9,000 a month and this kind of thing. They're going to talk to you.
Yes. I would always encourage them to come in and talk to me because there's a lot of different ways that we can go about it. And with knowing exactly what their care needs are and how we can help is exactly what we're looking for. Just how can I help you?
Well,
There's the other thing left now. Okay, we got it paid for. It's the idea of putting mom in a home.
And
Or that, to use that term. I had to put a relative in one of those places for a very temporary period of time, and it was a beautiful place in Florida, or Arizona. And it just tore me up. It was so hard for me to do that. And I knew it was only going to be for 3 or 4 months. So I can imagine putting mom in there, especially if you don't live close.
Tony and I think that he would agree with me. We see it every single day. I always tell people, once you move a loved one in, there's going to be that adjustment period, not only for the resident moving in, because there's always going to be that adjustment period, getting a routine down, getting used to their surroundings, to having that 24-hour care, kind of knowing what to do, getting used to the community. But not a lot of people tell you there's also an adjustment period for the families.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. And it oftentimes, depending, of course, on the situation, it's a lot harder on the families. And that's what that's what I love so much about my job, is not only am I able to assist with these seniors finding the care that they need, but I get to be that support for the families who are going through that hard time and having a rough time coming to terms with, maybe I can't take care of my wife anymore. Yeah. And, she needs memory care services. And that is something that I really take a lot of pride in, is that I'm able to be that support. The families know that they can call me anytime. And Monarch Gardens specifically, we offer a dementia support group, so we can be there to support our families that are moving their loved ones in with dementia, because that more than anything is a lot harder for the families than it is for the residents.
Boy, I tell you, what you've been talking about it kind of buoyed my spirits already, because I'm the only one that my family's down around Sacramento, mm-hmm. and I'm not going to go back down there. And I think about this, of course, the older we get, but it sounds like, now I'm in California, I'm in Smith River, but if I could still come up and ask to use these services if that time starts to happen, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Just because the California resident doesn't really matter?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You can always come in and talk to me, and we can come up with a game plan. Mm-hmm. If the services are needed. I always encourage to schedule a meeting with me, come in and check out the communities for yourself. Do your research, of course. I always encourage to check out every community, because we really strive to fit the resident with the best community for them. And I know the families are the same way. And Tony and I were actually just talking this morning, and different communities are better for different residents. It all kind of depends on their preferences, what they're most comfortable with, such as Azalea Gardens. It's assisted living and it's memory care, so it's more of a transitional community. It's a smaller community where there are some very large assisted living communities that offer multiple different services, but we are very homey.
Yes, that's the feeling I get.
We're very homey. We're very...
I'm sure everybody out there is getting that same feeling.
Yeah, we're like a big family, no matter what community it is.
That's some beautiful stuff.
Yes.
And by the way, y'all can text in if you like questions or comments, 541-661-4098. I had, now this is down around Sacramento area, actually Roseville. My mom reached that point, and we had to put her in a place. Now, this was called board and care. I don't know. I'm assuming it's kind of like assisted living. But this place was, and again, when the doctor that made that assessment that she couldn't live alone anymore, and they got us to the right place. It was a house basically that had, I think there were about maybe 8 residents there. But does that similar to the assisted living?
So
Because she didn't require memory care at that time.
that sounds more like an adult foster home. What do you think,
Okay.
Tony?
Yeah, I know they make smaller assisted livings as well to try to create a little bit more of a home-like environment. I know that the two types of assisted are the two types of living community-based care types that we provide in the area would be assisted living or memory care. Whenever an individual determines for themselves or for their loved ones that they can no longer live safely or appropriately in home alone, then that's when it would be the best fit to take a look at an assisted living or a memory care. If an individual has a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia or another related form of dementia, then it may be the most appropriate fit for them to take a look at a memory care. I'd say outside of safety and appropriateness, there are a lot of people living a home alone that can also create isolation, which can lead to depression and anxiety. So one thing that we can also provide in an assisted living for an individual who doesn't quite need help with some of those activities of daily living like bathing or toileting or ambulation, mobility, they can get into a community where they can live in their own apartment with friends, make friends, be a part of a family, attend activities within the community at large, attend activities within the building. And it really creates an environment of socialization for people that they may not be able to get in their own home, even if they're receiving, in-home care or friends and family coming periodically. This just creates a scenario for them to be able to have quality of care and quality of life all in the same place.
Yeah. Socialization and life enrichment, I have just, through my experience, I have seen do absolute wonders with some of the residents coming in. A lot of them coming from home do feel isolated. They do have that sense of depression. They're not around a lot of people. A lot of families come in and they're like, oh, my dad's just going to be sitting in front of the TV. He's not really a social guy, or, he's going to spend a majority of time in his room. And then the next week I go to that community and he's doing woodworking. He's out there enjoying the live music, dancing with the other residents. It all kind of falls hand in hand with getting that life enrichment and that socialization and just a change of environment.
Yeah. Boy, I have to assume you probably a lot of great situations, but there's probably some sad situations in there where the family dynamic is maybe not the best for that person that's going through.
Yes.
And then who makes that decision to say, hey, we need to get your mom or dad into this and not living alone?
So that would be the family, or if the doctor recommends it. Tony, do you have anything to say on that matter? Who would make that call?
I would say that, for an individual who isn't living with cognitive decline, that could be a decision that they can make on their own. They'd be first in charge with making that final decision. And then with their friends and family and their doctor, they can get together and make a decision and determine if that would be the best fit for them. And then if an individual is living with cognitive decline and they've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia, those decisions would be most appropriate for whomever they've put in place as their guardian and or their power of attorney, and also in association with the resident themselves too, just based on their cognitive ability to continue to make determinations for themselves in that regard.
Boy, you touched on something pretty important, I guess. And my sister and I, we did take care of that before my mom reached a certain level about power of attorney, medical power of attorney. There's some plans that hopefully the families and the people that are listening are getting that together.
I don't feel like a lot of people understand the importance of that until they're actually in the situation. But anybody that I meet, I highly, highly, highly encourage them to get that paperwork in place. Get your advance directive done, get your power of attorney done, get your pulse form done so they know exactly how to accommodate you just in case something does happen.
You're preaching to the choir, of course, because
Who's not listening? At least they always ask me if I have a
advance directive.
advance directive. I said yes. It's sitting right on the coffee table, right where it was when the doctor gave it to me 5 years ago.
You didn't fill it out?
No.
Oh, right.
Well,
Get to questions I don't want to.
They're difficult questions.
Well,
And-
they're difficult, but they're necessary.
Absolutely.
I belong to the tribal health down below, and they have some. It's considered an advanced directive, and it's called 5 wishes. And there was a lot of stuff in there, and I mean, it was just great. I did that 5 or 6 years ago, and well, anyway, I think I'm prepared. But you said pulse, and I didn't. I kind of forgot about that until 2 weeks ago. I was at my doctor, and we were talking about the advanced directive. And she says, well, and you have your pulsed. I think that's right.
Yeah, physician order for life-sustaining treatment.
Yep. And I said, nope, I don't. So I filled that out, and then I had to go see her again to make sure. I guess they've assessed this guy's of right mind, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And now it's the pink sheet, and it's on my refrigerator, and it's filed away. Well, filed.
Good job, Rick.
See, Ray?
Yeah.
And
but wait a minute. I've spent a lot
That's
of
how they know.
a lot of money to get black appliances and have at least that much of my kitchen looking good. Now you want me to put a day glow pink thing on? No way, ain't gonna happen. I did
it's a
when
choice.
I was a cop, though. I did come across one of those. Unfortunately, the guy was already dead, but it taped on his refrigerator, and he had all the pills and things. And
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's for. I
Yeah.
mean, just in case nobody ever knows what's going to happen.
No.
And a majority of the time it happens unexpectedly. And just to have the advance directive, the pulse form, the power of attorney stuff just in place, just so people know your wishes, know how, if you want to be resuscitated, if you stop breathing.
Right.
that's one of the questions I had. I was sitting, trying again to fill it out with my girlfriend, and it gets to that. Do you want to be resuscitated? Well, that's not giving you enough information. You want to be resuscitated because you had an electric shock, which you can be resuscitated and live a perfectly normal life, or you want to be resuscitated because your heart went into defib or something.
I believe
Two,
it covers-
I want to be resuscitated if I'm going to come back and be normal. She seemed to think that never happens. I think it does.
Well, and there's different sections on it with the advance directive and with the pulse form to go over exactly what you would want done. So if you wanted CPR, if you were to stop breathing, then absolutely, I would check that one. But there's also like a portion on there.
But I don't want to be resuscitated if I just fade away and died, and CPR could possibly bring you back to life as a vegetable, and you'll live another 3 or 4
I wish
years.
now I would have bought, because I've got copies of it also. I wish I would have brought that in.
I know. I'm trying to think of exactly what
No,
it
because
covers right now.
it really
It covers
covers
a
that
lot
kind
of
of
it.
stuff.
It goes through details, and then you can check exactly what you want them to do if this situation happens or if this situation happens.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I should give the phone number,
Yes, go ahead.
541-661-4098. If you have any questions or comments, send us a text. We have operators standing by, waiting.
Moi. So we'll see. Well, and again, you talked about so many different levels of care that you guys cover. You know, some of the places, it's almost like, I think, kind of living in your own apartment
Yes.
where you can cook for yourself if you so desire. And then obviously the costs vary and all of that. But no matter the cost, it sounds like what you were talking earlier about, you pay what that's going to sound funny, you pay what you can, but y'all can work it out with people and their families.
Yes. Yes. So what happens is after somebody comes in to do a tour, they decide that they want to move forward with one of our communities. And then what happens is we do a initial evaluation to go over how we can accommodate. And Tony, if you want to get into a little bit about the evaluation and what that entails.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The evaluations that we provide can be done in our communities or in the privacy of the individual's home. We get together and we try to determine a personalized care plan for them just based on their care needs. We go through a few activities of daily living. Some of the examples of that would be like showering, toileting, mobility, things like that. And then we also go through asking care questions regarding instrumental activities of daily living. Those would consist of things like housekeeping and meal preparation and laundry. And once we go through the evaluation, we're able to determine the care need and assistance type for the individual. And that's where we create the personalized care plan for them. The assessments or evaluations are typically done by an administrator, a registered nurse, or a resident care coordinator. So we always make sure that there's a qualified individual who comes out, meets with the family, and goes over personalized questions, not just about care needs, also about things like life history, where they were born, spiritual preferences, cultural preferences, things to be able to get to know who they are as from a holistic approach as a person, not only just to provide their care, but to be able to provide a good source of quality of life for them. And it's a great process. It typically takes about an hour. And like I was mentioning before, there's no commitment to move in, and there's no cost or anything associated with an evaluation.
Well, that's huge.
It goes over exactly how you would like to be accommodated, or how, say that somebody has a certain way that they get their loved ones in the shower, for instance.
Yeah.
Some are a little resistant and maybe a little bribery works, or maybe they go in and they set up the shower exactly how, getting everything kind of ready for them, help them in the shower. But we want our residents to feel comfortable and be accommodated for the way that they want to be.
Yeah.
One of the biggest parts would be promoting and maintaining their current independence.
Yes.
So assistance looks different for an individual. That's really what we always want to keep in mind and try to promote, is assist them with maintaining their independence first and foremost. Some people need setup. Some people need queuing. Some people need hands-on assistance. Some people need reminders. Some people need standby assistance. We really want to be there to be able to provide the right assistance type for the individual in the moment when they need it. And if they transition into a higher level of care, we just want everyone to know that we provide basic entry-level services like housekeeping, laundry, and meals, all the way up through end of life, home health, hospice, OT, PT. Everybody's welcome in, just like they would be in your home.
OCPT?
Occupational therapy and physical therapy. So with home health services, that is something that they come in and they're able to do physical therapy and occupational therapy with our residents a few days a week. And then with hospice, of course, if they are on hospice, they have nurses or physicians that come into our communities a few times a week or as needed to see our residents.
Boy, and a shout out to, I used hospice with my dear late departed wife, and that was one of the best things to have.
They're
at that
wonderful.
time. I really appreciated everything that they did.
They're pretty amazing.
They are.
Yes, we are very happy to be partners with them and to have the relationship that we
Right.
do.
Right. Well, and like you and Tony sound like special people, and they are special people to be able to do that kind of thing.
Well, thank you.
Really?
It takes a special type of person to work in this field. The things that we see and we do might not be for everybody. But we are just happy to provide the service for our community.
Everything sounds so wonderful, and it does. Is there a waiting list for people? Are the facilities that we have, or do you think that's enough? Do we need more? Because we're a big senior community. It's rural. We don't have a lot of people,
Right.
but most of them are seniors.
Yes. I feel, I mean, it kind of depends. It all varies. So with the waiting list, I mean, sometimes we do have a waiting list.
Okay.
Sometimes we go through the waiting list quite quickly. It all kind of, I can't really set a timeline
No,
on it,
well,
if you
of
know,
course not. Yeah. Well, I was
in the
just
nicest way possible.
Well, yeah, but generally, if somebody wants to come in, it doesn't sound like it's going to be like a 2-year waiting
No.
list or something. Okay. Because I'm sure.
No, not at all.
No.
I know
We try
currently we
to-
have openings in all 3 of our communities in the area right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we've actually, I think Tony and I set the record for our company in getting somebody assessed and admitted. It was an emergency situation, and it took, 4 hours, Tony?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable start to finish, but a lot of it is just about serving the individual, meeting their sense of urgency, and really just trying to find the right environment, make sure that things are developed safely and appropriately, but just really trying to assist any way we can by serving the public, serving the individuals, and making sure that that's how we lead and that's how we provide for them by serving them.
Okay.
What would an emergency situation consist of?
That's a tough one, Ray. I've seen quite a few, and I'm sure Tony has as well. But we work very closely with the hospitals in town, skilled nursing. We work very closely with the doctors' offices in town, from Crescent City all the way up to Coos Bay, all over Oregon. So there's a lot of hospitals that, I mean, like I was saying, you can never really expect when something happens. A majority of the time it's unexpected, and you land in the hospital, and then all of a sudden they tell you, you're not safe to be discharged home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whenever they get a hold of us. We get a hold of the family members, and we just kind of work through the process that way. But the one that we were speaking about for memory care is with the cognition decline, it sets a much higher sense of urgency for it, because we have seniors in the area with dementia and Alzheimer's who sometimes wander and they can't find their way back home. So they're walking into the street or walking down into the harbor and they can't find their way back. And so that's where we're able to provide a secured environment where they're able to really thrive in our community. And that's one of the instances. Tony, do you have any examples of a emergency situation?
Yeah, I would say similar to that example, if somebody particularly is living with cognitive decline and they're alone in their own home, and it's been determined that they can no longer make certain safe decisions, like cooking on their own by themselves, taking their medications on their own by themselves. The individual may wander, and that's a really fancy way of saying that they exit the home, can leave the home, go to a destination, and not remember how to get back home, or forget the intent and purpose for taking that trip. And that's what I mean when I say safe and appropriate. Certain situations like that are neither safe nor appropriate. And sometimes we'll get calls from family members who've come to town to visit their loved ones for a holiday or for a vacation, and they've seen a drastic decline in their ability to be able to provide for themselves. And that's a situation where I would say it'd be a pretty immediate need. And sometimes we have people coming in, flying in for the weekend to visit their family members. And then by the time they leave that weekend, they've already made the decision to move forward with the process. And that's really what we want to try to do. If someone needs it to take a couple of days, then we want to meet them where they're at with their sense of urgency. If they need a little bit of time to think about it, sometimes to answer questions and go through the process, then we want them to be able to, we want to meet them where we can in the process. But in those immediate emergent situations, we really want to try to go through the process and meet the need of the individuals just so they can be in a safe environment and just know that they're well protected.
Is there such a thing as a court ordered or something like a court order that people are required to go?
I have never heard of a court ordered to go into an assisted living or in memory care. Have you, Tony?
No, I don't believe those are the things that are done through court orders. They're
I know court order was a bad term, but it was the best I could come up. Somebody being forced to live there, in other words.
Yeah, I know that once it's been determined by a medical professional that an individual can no longer safely or appropriately live alone in their own home, there are a lot of decisions to make. But realistically, the resident themselves still has rights, whether the individual is living with dementia or no cognitive decline. They're involved with their family and friends or loved ones, whomever they'd like to be involved in the process. They can drive the decision-making process. Or if an individual is living with cognitive decline, they'll have their guardian or their power of attorney or another individual assisting them with guiding them through the process. And they can ultimately make the final decision. But I know that once that determination's been made and it's been stated, the conversation's been had with the individual and their families, that it's no longer safe and no longer appropriate to live at home, that's when there are a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little more, but we do have a text come in. Thank you, texter. And the question is there a limit on the percentage of Medicaid residents you are able to serve?
I know at our communities, we try not to put any cap or percentages on the amount of residents we serve. I know that that's a really good question. Unfortunately, some communities may put a certain percentage or a certain cap on the number of individuals they're willing or able to serve as it pertains to Medicaid residents. But like I was saying before, we really do want to provide a home for any individual who qualifies for our services and is a good fit for our community. So whether they're a millionaire or they're on the state's Medicaid long-term care program, we don't differentiate between payer types.
Why did I think that was going to be the answer, I wonder? Honestly, it's just fantastic. I do want to get back. We had an incident with one of our neighbors that was found. She lived alone. We both felt she was having issues, and she got caught out on the road a couple times. She had a relative that we were able to contact, but the relative didn't seem to be concerned. At what point, I'm trying to think, what would you all suggest do you call the police in a situation like that where you feel this person is in danger and you're going beyond the family to do? Have you had any cases like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have. So in cases like that, of course, you definitely can call the police, but what they're going to do is they have adult protective services.
That's okay.
Adult protective services, we also work very close with. We have a lot of seniors that are in incredibly bad situations that we work with APS to get them out of and get them moved into our home. Whether there's so many different kinds of cases that we have seen and experienced, and not all are great experiences for them. Unfortunately, a lot of them, we are getting them out of some very, very bad scenarios, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia. And with working with APS, they are so incredible. The case managers with DHS and all of the investigators with APS, they really put their heart and soul into their work. And so then they contact me immediately, and then they work with the individual, they work with me, they work with Tony, the administrator, or one of the other administrators at the buildings, and we just do whatever we can to assist to the best of our ability.
And not to go too negative, but I can only assume too that there's some battles that you guys must have had with family members and
yeah, I mean, not all family dynamics are great.
No, I think we all know that.
Wow, I never even thought of that. What a concept.
But you all are such advocates for these people, for the people
Absolutely.
in need, and I know you fight that battle pretty hard.
We are advocates for our residents, and we will always continue to be. And usually it just takes a conversation. It just takes a conversation with the loved one to really explain the situation at hand. What if it's a very bad situation that they're in, we just need to explain it. There's a lot of misconceptions about assisted living and memory care communities, especially with a lot of the generation that I work with now. I mean, they have it in their mind. I can't tell you how many home visits I have made to explain that we're not a convalescent home. The horror stories that you've heard in the past, it's not realistic now. We are assisted living communities, and we want you to have the best quality of life that you can while you're here with us. And we'll do whatever we can to make that happen.
Yeah, I think we can feel that, what's going on.
No, I understand that a lot of times people, when they're in dementia, get very violent at times. Can you take people like that?
That get very violent.
Yeah.
Tony, you want to take this one on the clinical side?
I know we never want to decline anyone based on what we prefer to do is not automatically decline any individual. We want to take a look at every scenario on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes the reason for violent outbursts and behaviors can be it can be as simple as a change in environment. Sometimes it can be a change in medications. Sometimes it can be
Huge one.
bringing in other community providers. We really want to take a look at each person as an individual, trying to bring in an approach from the assessment, the care planning process, friends, family, providers, medication services, just to be able to see. And we really do try to make a final determination that's the best fit for the community, the safety of the staff and the residents, and then also for the potential resident as well. We leave no stone unturned before we ever make a decision to select or decline someone. And I'd say, if anything, as a general rule, we try not to do an automatic decline on individuals just based on certain circumstances without taking that real holistic approach and looking into it a little bit further. But I know that we really do serve all different types of individuals in memory care. There's a lot of different parts of the disease and the progression of the illness, and some are negative. Many, I'd say, all of them are negative, but some of them manifest themselves negatively in that regard. And we like to take a look at those individuals on a case-by-case basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've impressed me today with your attitudes about actually being interested in helping people. I've never given it a lot of thought, but I always thought that we drop grandma off and visit her once a week, and she makes it. But you people really seem to care about providing a quality of life for your residents.
We definitely do.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Boy, that's just, it really is wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, we talked about a little bit, the entertainment that local people have come around.
Yes.
And one of our friends of the station, I hope he's out there listening, Bobby Joe Holman.
Thank you, Bobby Joe.
I saw the little thing on Facebook, went and gave his performance and had the people up and moving and dancing. And you get a lot of local people to do that.
We definitely do, from live music to, we had Bruce Ellis come and do his comedy skit.
Really?
Yeah, we did that a few weeks ago. We do all kinds of events, resident events. We do a resident birthday party each month. We want to acknowledge all of the residents, not just on their birthday, but we want to celebrate with all of them together.
Oh, boy.
Holidays. We just did our Valentine's Day brunch last week, which was amazing. And it's giving that opportunity for the families to come in and spend those holidays with their loved ones, even if they can't take them home.
Yeah. Now, Now, you did say occasionally then there are people that you might have to not accept once in a great while. That does happen.
It does happen if they are too high a level of care. And did you want to get into this one, Tony, or would you like me to?
Yeah, what I can say is that we're all licensed communities through the state of Oregon. There are a couple of different types of community-based care settings, and it all really depends on what the best fit is for the individual within the licensing ability of the community. So assisted living and memory care are very similar. One of the only real differentiating factors would be is if someone had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia, and it was no longer safe or appropriate to them to live at home, and they would need to live in a secured memory care community. I would say that a lot of individuals fit that description, but if someone's care needs were so significant or so intense that they required a skilled nursing facility, then that may be a more appropriate type of care.
Right.
They also have behavioral type facilities for individuals who continue to demonstrate violent behaviors towards other individuals. There's multiple facilities available like that in the state of Oregon. But the community-based care types, they really range between assisted livings, memory cares, and skilled nursing facilities. In order to qualify for a skilled nursing facility, you have to have some pretty significant needs, and that would be the higher level of care above a memory care or an assisted living.
Yeah. So, like feeding tubes, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Feeding tubes or something along those lines that would require skilled nursing. That's just something that we're not qualified
I got
for.
you.
Do you take people to dialysis therapy?
We have, yes. Yes.
Crescent City is the closest place, I understand.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another question about we all have to go for our more medical needs. Like I travel to Eureka, some travel to Grants Pass,
Right.
Medford. What about if one of your residents needs that? Does the family take them up there?
So
or there?
if the family wants to take them, then absolutely.
And if they can't,
But if they cannot take them, then we have a bus at all 3 communities, and we are able to provide transportation. We send a caregiver with them or a resident care coordinator, and they go to the appointments with our residents. So then we know exactly how to accommodate their care after their appointment.
can't ask for much more than that, can you? Wow.
I already have my room picked out.
Wow. And then the other thing we were talking about, and this is for even seniors not that need that much care. You've got some high school kids that are helping seniors navigate and probably your residents too. I'm assuming some of your residents are computer savvy and go
Some
through
of
all
them
that.
are, yes.
Probably more than me, but
So Beacon Broadband actually does the Connected Senior program, and Trish Iverson. They are all absolutely incredible. But we did an event last year on Tech Savvy Seniors, where we had seniors from the high school come in and assist some of the seniors at our communities with technology, which is amazing.
Yeah. When you said tech savvy seniors, I was thinking our brand of seniors, but it's a contradiction in terms.
It's seniors helping seniors.
Got it.
I got to figure out how to operate the remote on my television. I have 3 different remotes, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I got rid of my television. That's how I dealt with
That'd
it.
probably be a smart move.
Gosh. Wow. Well, I tell you, it's overwhelming, the good feelings that I have that you and Tony and others, the staff, deal with.
Well, thank you.
Really. It's wonderful. Now, are there I was going to say volunteers to help out. Do you want volunteers to do different things? And I think of what Bobby Joe did and Bruce, that's kind of volunteering.
Absolutely. We love working with the community.
Yeah.
We work with all kinds of members of the community, from live music to hosting educational events each month.
Yeah.
Yes, the Wild Rivers Film Festival, of course,
Oh,
comes in and does
gosh.
screenings
Thank
for.
you. You work pretty close with the Wild Rivers.
I am actually on the board of the Wild
That
Rivers
is-
Film Festival as well.
That's Sarah has quite a
I'm-
busy schedule.
Yes, I sure do.
That's great.
But we're very grateful to be able to partner with people like the Wild Rivers Film Festival and coming in and providing that for our residents and making them feel special and getting to see these screenings firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, can you talked about other facilities, not only the ones that you deal with here, but would you recommend somebody to say go to, if you knew a facility that would suit them better in Portland, or I'll say Roseburg where Tony is? Have you done that also?
I have, each resident or each prospect that I come across, everybody's different.
Sure.
So depending on their wants and their needs, I always encourage them to check out everywhere so you can find where really fits you best.
Okay.
So on a personal question, I guess, how did you get into this business?
So I was an in-home caregiver back in Reading, kind of part-time. And then I moved over to Crescent City with my husband to help take care of my mother-in-law. And in doing that, I wasn't working at the time. It was right in the middle of COVID. And my friend was the administrator at Shorepine Senior Living, and she needed some help really bad with caregiving. And so I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and help you out. And I made the commute from Crescent City up to Gold Beach to Shore Pines, and I was a caregiver up there. I then moved into the resident care coordinator role, which oversees the medication technicians and the caregivers and makes the schedules and builds the care plans and kind of oversees all of the care for our residents.
So you have people that administer or bring meds around?
Yes. We administer medications
So
unless the individual is assessed to do them themselves.
Is this a I want to say a thing? An example, I recently found out that the person that draws your blood when you go into the hospital that's a job. That's a phlebotomist?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that was the case. But is this person that administers drugs, same type of thing?
Yep. We call them a med tech. Our med techs are the ones that administer the medications to the residents.
Boy, that alone, I remember dealing with my mom at the boarding care and the amount of medications. Well, heck, and I got to watch mine too, separating it. But that's a big job.
Yes.
To try to cover, and one person covering everybody in the facility, pretty much.
Tony, can you chime in on this one?
Yeah, I know. Depending on the community and depending on the acuity levels of the current residents, that will determine and how many meds are being passed. That really determines how many medication technicians we have on each shift. In a typical situation, it would be 2, depending on the size of a building. For a larger size building, for a smaller size community, depending on the amount of meds, there could be 1 medication aide on the shift, but it truly does depend on the number of residents, the size of the community, and the acuity of the residents, which is just a really fancy way of saying how much care each resident needs collectively.
Or if there's like a complex medication regimen, or if we have diabetics that require insulin, it all kind of goes hand in hand with how many med techs we have on.
Okay. But and also there are some residents, depending on the level, that they can administer their own meds.
Absolutely. We always encourage them to be as independent as
Yeah.
possible until they're not able to.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever we step in and keep up to date on their care.
I would be faking it.
Oh, Ray.
No, I can't do that. No. Can't do
in other words,
breakfast in here. I can't make it to the dining room.
you'd be a little on the needy side, I'm telling you.
That's okay. We have
It'd be the
pendants
lazy
that
side.
you
I
press.
grew up getting away with stuff.
You press a pendant and our care staff will come running.
Okay.
Well, we are kind of running. We got a little less than 5 minutes left, and we had a little background for Sarah. Tony, what about you? How did you get into all of this?
I know that I've always felt that I've been called to lead. I've been called to serve. And I really was just looking for the right type of career or environment where I'd be able to accomplish both. And I know that that's what led me into the senior living industry, an opportunity to be able to get into a management position and lead others, but while also at the same time serving individuals, vulnerable individuals of a population, aged and disabled population. If anything, it really does. It meets both of those two things that I feel like I'm driven and most passionate about is serving other individuals and leading others. And I say senior living in and of itself is just a perfect environment to be able to fulfill both of those career goals or aspirations that I've had for myself.
Well, it's good to know that both you and Sarah are, I would say, in charge of us seniors here in this area. I'm telling you, man, I've sensed just so much compassion about what you both do.
You really fall in love with the I really fell in love with the industry whenever I became a caregiver up at Shore Pines. That's kind of what trickled the effect. I was the administrator up there for a little bit, and then I got offered the regional sales and marketing director role, and it's definitely, I finally found my niche.
That's good.
I'm still looking for mine,
Yeah,
even in
me too.
retirement.
Oh, I think you're doing great, Rick.
God. Well, I tell you, it was wonderful having you guys both here with this very important topic because, like we have talked about a lot of times, this is the senior community. People, I want to retire to come here, and I don't blame them. That's what I did too. And but then there comes a time when we might be a little more needy and need some more help.
Call me.
And yeah.
So I guess the bottom line to this whole thing is if you have a question and you think maybe you know somebody or maybe you know yourself, whatever, go in and ask these people and they will be very helpful, very friendly, and tell you what they can provide.
Yeah.
Maybe how you can help yourself without using them.
Absolutely. You can visit our websites to schedule a tour if you want a specific community, or you can reach out to me directly, and I'd be more than happy to walk anybody through the process or answer any questions that they might have.
And Sarah, go ahead and give out your personal info there.
Yeah, no
Tell
problem.
us about how to,
You can call any of the communities, Monarch, Azalea, or Shore Pines, or you can call me directly at 530-691-2988, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions or walk you through the process or do what I can to help assist you with whatever you need.
Wow.
Okay, and if you are listening and you say, gee, I wish Susie or somebody knew about that, you can play this program on
You bet.
online.
Yeah. Well, listen, again, I want to thank both of you. Tony, thank you for chiming in from beautiful Roseburg, Oregon.
Of course, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. And hopefully we'll have you all on again because this is an ongoing topic. This never ends at all.
It's an important topic, and I'm so grateful that you guys had us on the air to talk about it.
Well, we definitely enjoyed it and had a good time talking about it. So, okay, y'all. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Tony. And you're all listening to KCIW 100.7 FM in beautiful Brookings, Oregon.